The final stretch of the transfer window is always a pressure cooker. And over at Ibrox, that tension is bubbling just beneath the surface. Rangers fans know this period is rarely quiet, and this year, it feels like the stakes are even higher. There's a nervous excitement in there, a sense that the decisions made in the next few days could redefine the trajectory of the entire season, with whispers turning into full-blown transfer sagas. Russell Martin and the Rangers board are gearing up for a period that could bring major ins and outs, and possibly reshape the squad's identity entirely. Let's start with what's already confirmed. Jayden McGowan is officially a Rangers player, arriving on loan from Brentford until the end of the season. At just 19 years old, he's already speaking like someone who knows exactly why he's here. This isn't just another young prospect heading out for game time. This is a player who made a conscious decision to come north, largely because of one man, Russell Martin. Their paths crossed back at Southampton, and McGowan still carries the lessons he learned there. It's that shared history that gave him the confidence to join Rangers, knowing the type of football Martin wants to play, and more importantly, that he knows how to play it. He made it clear. It wasn't just the opportunity to play football, it was the club itself that pulled him in. The weight of Rangers history, the scale of the support, the challenge of playing under intense scrutiny, he wanted all of it. He's not coming to Ibrox to blend in. He's coming to make a mark. His own words say it all. He remembers being handed his debut by Martin in the EFL Cup against Gillingham, and the style of play stuck with him. Possession-based football, technical intelligence, composure on the ball. That's the kind of football he loves. And now he's ready to deliver that in a Rangers shirt. And his timing couldn't be better. With Jeff Day on the verge of joining Parma for around £6 million and Ridvan Yilmaz edging closer to the exit, the left side of the pitch is looking thin. Youngster Robbie Fraser has also just departed for Dunfermline, which only deepens the void. McGowan comes in not just as a short-term patch, but potentially as a key figure in this new-look Rangers squad. There's no easing into it. He'll need to hit the ground running. But while new arrivals bring excitement, there's also a cloud of uncertainty hanging over some of the club's biggest names. The boardroom might not be broadcasting it, but inside the corridors of Auchenhowie, there's an awareness that things could change quickly. As we approach the final days of the window, Rangers are bracing themselves for significant bids, particularly for Nicholas Raskin and Hamza Igamani. Interest in Igaman has been growing steadily across Europe. The Moroccan striker has caught the eye of several clubs, including Everton, Feyenoord, Rennes, Udinese, and Lille. So far, there's been no formal offer, but with each passing day, the feeling is that someone's going to make their move. Rangers are prepared. If an acceptable bid comes in, they're ready to reinvest those funds into the squad immediately. That's not just a reactive stance, it's part of a larger strategy. Raskin's situation is slightly different, but no less tense. Premier League sides are keeping tabs on the Belgian midfielder, and while there's been no official statement, the noise is getting louder. Internally, the club remains adamant they want to keep him. He's a crucial part of Martin's system, and losing him would be a blow, not just tactically, but psychologically. Yet behind the scenes, there's an acknowledgement that every player has a price. Should a major offer come in, the club would be forced to act quickly to secure a replacement in midfield, someone capable of slotting in seamlessly to maintain the team's balance. That word, balance, is key. Russell Martin is trying to build something coherent here. He's not just collecting talent, he's assembling a system. So any major exit won't just be about the transfer fee, it'll be about what it means for the squad's structure. There's no room for sentiment, just clarity, decisiveness, and speed. It's not just Raskin and Igamani whose futures are under scrutiny. Ridvan Yilmaz could also be on his way out. Besiktas are pushing hard to bring him back to Turkey, and Galatasaray are also monitoring the situation closely. A move back to the Turkish Super League has been on the cards for some time, and this window might finally see it happen. The Istanbul Giants have tried before but couldn't get the deal done. Now, the player himself seems more open to the idea than ever. If Yilmaz does leave, it adds another layer of urgency to the club's transfer business. Depth in the fullback positions is already a concern, and with so many moving parts, the coming days are going to be a real test for the recruitment team. It's one thing to bring in quality players, but it's another thing entirely to bring in the right players. The ones who fit the manager's vision, the ones who are mentally and physically ready to handle the demands of life at Rangers. That's why the arrival of Mikey Moore feels so intriguing. He's just 18 years old and barely a week into adulthood, but he already talks and plays like someone who believes he belongs at the top level. Coming through the ranks at Spurs, Moore has shown flashes of brilliance, enough to earn his shot in the senior squad, and now he's determined to prove himself at Ibrox. He's not shy about his ambitions either. Asked what the future holds, he didn't hesitate. "I want to be one of the best players in the world," he said. It's the kind of bold statement that could come across as arrogance. But in his case, it feels more like belief. And honestly, belief is something this Rangers squad could use more of. For too long, we've seen players shrink under the spotlight, unable to cope with the pressure and expectations that come with the badge. Moore at least seems up for the challenge. He made his debut in a 4-2 win over Alloa Athletic and gave us a glimpse of what he can do. His directness, his quick thinking, his movement off the ball, it's all there. He still drifted in and out of the game as young players often do, but the raw talent is obvious. And now that the red tape has cleared and he's officially eligible to play, the real work begins. One interesting twist in his story is the timing. Moore had to wait until his birthday to be cleared to play due to footballing regulations. But in hindsight, that delay might have worked in his favor. It gave him time to settle into Glasgow, to get used to his surroundings, to understand the culture and the expectations. And now, with the paperwork out of the way, he's ready to go full throttle. He's already signed a new contract with Spurs, so this is very much a loan move designed for growth. But don't mistake that for a lack of commitment. He's all in. "I just want to play as many games as possible, score goals and excite people," he said. And when he talks about Rangers, you can tell he's not just saying the right things, he means it. The club has already left an impression on him, and the idea of playing in front of a packed Ibrox clearly fires him up. He wasn't on that famous trip when Spurs came to Ibrox in the Europa League, but he watched the match and was gutted to miss it. His teammates told him it was one of the best atmospheres they'd ever experienced. That stuck with him. And when the chance to come to Rangers appeared, that memory played a role. It wasn't just about game time. It was about playing in a place that feels alive, that demands everything from its players. Then there's the influence of Jermaine Defoe. Moore spoke openly about how much the former Rangers and Spurs striker influenced his decision. Defoe didn't hold back. He told him it was an unbelievable place, one of the best decisions he'd made in his career. That kind of endorsement doesn't just come from nowhere. Defoe loved his time at Ibrox, and his advice helped to tip the scales. So now the pieces are starting to move. The squad is evolving. And as the final days of the window tick down, Rangers find themselves on a knife edge. Key players could leave. Others could arrive. There's tension, yes, but also opportunity. But beyond all the chatter of transfers and rumors, there's a more fundamental question lingering in the background. What kind of team is Russell Martin truly building? That's the thread running through every decision this month. Whether it's a 19-year-old fullback from Brentford, an explosive forward from Morocco, or a teenager with big dreams from Spurs, every move points to a manager who wants a team with identity, purpose, and fearlessness. And make no mistake, fearlessness is exactly what's needed right now. Because the truth is, Rangers aren't just looking to improve, they're looking to reclaim. In recent seasons, too many signings have come and gone without ever stamping their authority on the team. Players have shown flashes, had moments, but few have consistently delivered the kind of influence that makes opponents fear them and fans believe in them. That's why this window feels different. There's a desire, even a desperation, to get it right. Russell Martin knows what it means to lead Rangers. Not just the tactics, but the pressure, the expectation, the scrutiny that comes with every touch of the ball. And with every new face that walks through the door at Ocean Howie, he's not just thinking about quality. He's thinking about mentality. He needs players who can take the weight of the jersey and run with it. Take the example of Hamza Igamani. Since his arrival, there's been a quiet confidence about him. He's not a player who looks overawed. He plays with energy, hunger, and a kind of raw edge that you can't teach. That's probably why clubs across Europe have been circling. But the idea of losing him so soon after his arrival feels premature. And yet in football, Timing doesn't always play fair. Rangers want to keep him, of course. But if a big offer lands on the table, there's a serious decision to be made. Does the club cash in and use the money to build a more rounded squad? Or do they gamble on keeping him, hoping he'll become a talismanic figure this season? The next few days will tell us a lot about the direction this club wants to go. Then there's Nicholas Raskin. His situation feels like a slow burn, the kind of transfer storyline that simmers in the background until suddenly it doesn't. And the interest from the Premier League is real. Clubs down south admire his balance on the ball, his positional sense, his engine. But there's also a growing concern among fans that the noise surrounding his future might be affecting his focus. Russell Martin has tried to shut that down publicly, insisting Raskin remains central to his plans. But anyone watching closely can sense the unease. Players aren't robots. They hear the whispers. They talk to agents. They feel the pull of bigger leagues and bigger contracts. So if Raskin does go, the key isn't just replacing him, it's maintaining the belief within the dressing room that the project is still alive. That's the real challenge for Martin right now. This isn't just about one window, it's about sending a message to the players, the fans, and the football world that Rangers aren't in a holding pattern. They're building, strategically, intentionally, and they're not going to be blown off course by a few difficult decisions. That's why every rumor matters, every negotiation, every potential incoming or outgoing, it all carries weight. There's a fragility to the squad at the moment, but also a flexibility. With the right moves, this could become a team that grows stronger with each match. But get it wrong, and the cracks that have been slowly forming could open wide. One thing that's been notable under Martin is the shift in how Rangers want to play. The possession-based style he favors is miles away from the more direct, physical game the team has relied on in the past. It's a system that demands intelligence, awareness, and composure under pressure. Players like McGowan and Moore weren't just signed because they're talented. They were signed because they fit that system. They think quickly, move the ball smartly, and aren't afraid to take risks in the final third. But systems only work when they're bought into by the whole squad, and that's where leadership becomes crucial. Martin might be a young manager, in relative terms, but he's already shown he's not afraid to make bold calls. He wants players who will fight for each other, who will respect the identity of the club, and who will do more than just turn up on match day. That's been evident in the way he's approached squad rotation, in the players he's trusted early on, and in the language he's used in interviews. He's not sugarcoating things. He knows the team is still a work in progress, but he also knows the fans don't want to hear excuses. They want performances, wins, trophies, and that's the other layer to all this. Time. In a club like Rangers, time is a luxury that's rarely granted. Managers are judged quickly. Players are judged even faster. A couple of poor results, and the mood turns. That's why this transfer window isn't just about building a squad. It's about buying time. If Martin can navigate these final weeks smartly, if he can keep hold of key players, bring in the right reinforcements, and hit the ground running in the next run of fixtures, then he buys himself breathing room. He builds trust, and trust is everything when you're trying to lead a club back to the top. Of course, trust goes both ways. The fans need to see that the board are backing their manager, not just with words, but with actions. That means not selling off talent just to balance the books. That means investing in areas of the pitch that have been neglected for too long. That means understanding that sometimes in football, you have to take a financial hit to protect the sporting vision. It's not always popular, but if you want to build something lasting, it's necessary. And right now, Rangers are on the edge of something. It could go either way. The squad has potential. You can see it in flashes, in moments of dominance, in passages of fluid, confident football. But potential means nothing without consistency. And that's what Martin is searching for. Players who won't hide when things get tough. Players who can play the way he wants under pressure. Players who believe they're meant to wear this shirt, not just hope they're good enough. That's what makes someone like Mikey Moore so interesting. He hasn't even been here long, but already he talks like someone who gets it. He wants to excite fans. He wants to test himself. He wants to play in big matches under the lights at Ibrox and feel that roar. He's not intimidated. He's motivated. And that mentality could be infectious if the dressing room buys into it. You get the sense that there's a quiet leadership quality about Moore. Not in the traditional sense of shouting instructions or throwing arms around shoulders, but in the way he carries himself, the way he speaks about his goals, the way he handled waiting for his debut, adapting to a new country, a new city, a new style of football. There's maturity there beyond his years. And Russell Martin will be hoping that kind of mentality spreads through the squad like wildfire. The same goes for Magome. He didn't just come here for minutes. He came because he believes in the football, in the manager, in a chance to be part of something, and that belief is powerful. In a club where expectations can crush players, belief is sometimes the only thing that keeps heads above water. Because Rangers isn't like other clubs. The spotlight is brighter, the pressure is more intense, the margin for error is tiny, and every mistake is magnified 100 times over. But that's also what makes this club special. That expectation, that demand, it pushes people. It asks more. And the players who survive it, who embrace it, they don't just become good footballers. They become Rangers players. That's a different thing entirely. So now the question is, who's next? Will more deals be done before the deadline slams shut? Will players like Igamena and Raskin still be here by the end of the month? Will the board pull off a last-minute surprise? Anything can happen in these final days. That's the nature of the window. But what matters most is that the direction stays clear, that Russell Martin is allowed to build a squad he believes in, that the players who arrive understand what they're stepping into, and that the fans see a team they can believe in again. Because Rangers aren't just fighting for silverware this season. They're fighting for momentum, for identity, for respect. And this window, these crucial, frantic final days, might just be the foundation that decides how far this team can really go. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The rumor mill around Stamford Bridge has rarely been quiet, but the latest whispers are carrying north of the border and landing directly in Glasgow, where Rangers supporters are already buzzing with speculation that Chelsea have sanctioned the release of a 17-year-old wonderkid who is being heralded as the next great English talent. Reports filtering through suggest that the youngster, who has been spoken of in academy circles as a prodigy with remarkable technical balance and vision beyond his years, is set to trade the blue of Chelsea for the blue of Ibrox in what many are calling a surprising but potentially shrewd move for both clubs. While Chelsea are known for stockpiling young prospects from around the world, this decision is being painted as a conscious effort to allow the player minutes at senior level, something the Premier League giants cannot guarantee in the current climate of high-priced signings and relentless pressure. The fact that Rangers have been chosen as the next destination raises eyebrows, because it speaks to a trust that the Scottish side can nurture him, protect his development, and simultaneously benefit from the injection of raw English talent into a squad that has often been accused of lacking youthful unpredictability. Those who follow academy football closely insist that this is no ordinary teenager being quietly shuffled off to a foreign loan. Rather, they claim this is an emerging gem who has been groomed carefully in Chelsea's youth system, receiving the same kind of tutelage once reserved for the likes of Mason Mount, Reece James, or Callum Hudson-Odoi in years gone by. The talk is that the player combines an elegant first touch with a fearless appetite for direct dribbling, attributes that would electrify Scottish grounds where intensity and passion dominate proceedings. Critics of the deal are murmuring that Chelsea's decision reflects more about their own bloated structure than the boys' actual chances, pointing to the endless carousel of prospects who shine at Cobham but fail to ever wear the senior shirt in meaningful competition. However, Rangers fans are less concerned with Chelsea's internal politics and more intrigued by the notion of seeing a teenager of such reputation wearing their badge, especially as they chase domestic supremacy against Celtic and seek relevance on the continental stage. It has been years since Ibrox supporters could genuinely say they had a rising English starlet on their books, and this potential unveiling is fueling hopes of a revival that blends youthful energy with their established core of experienced campaigners. Inside Chelsea circles, some are whispering that the release is not a permanent parting, but more of a calculated risk designed to see whether the teenager can withstand the rigors of first-team football in a league where physicality, is uncompromising and mistakes are punished mercilessly. If that is the case, then Rangers may have landed themselves in the unique position of both benefiting from his brilliance and serving as a testing ground for Chelsea's long-term strategy. An arrangement that fans of the Scottish club would welcome if it delivers immediate impact. Observers in London, however, warn that once a young player tastes the atmosphere of senior football and bonds with supporters in a stadium like Ibrox, the desire to return to academy matches or reserve games in England diminishes drastically. That raises the tantalizing possibility that Rangers could make a permanent move if the boy flourishes, effectively outmaneuvering a club that is often accused of being too obsessed with financial profit and not attuned enough to the human side of player growth. For the player himself, this is seen as a golden ticket, a chance to play in front of tens of thousands, test himself in European qualifiers, and build a reputation as more than just a name on a list of prospects. Among Rangers supporters, anticipation is swirling with a mixture of cautious optimism and unrestrained excitement. Because while Glasgow has often been a destination for hardened professionals in search of redemption, the thought of a 17-year-old English jewel arriving is almost unprecedented. They know that if the reports prove true, they could witness a transformation similar to what happened with past imports who blossomed under the glare of Ibrox's floodlights and used that platform to leap towards international recognition. The club's faithful are debating whether he should be eased into the side gradually or thrown straight into the cauldron of old firm derbies where legends are made and reputations either solidify or crumble under pressure. Conversations in pubs, on supporters' forums, and around training grounds are already filled with theories about his role. Is he an attacking midfielder with the flair to unlock stubborn defenses, or perhaps a wide forward capable of terrifying? Full backs with sheer pace and unpredictability, the speculation itself has added fuel to the rivalry with Celtic, whose fans are watching the chatter with equal parts skepticism and wariness, recognizing that Rangers arming themselves with fresh English talent could alter the balance in what has been a two-horse race for Scottish supremacy. What remains certain is that the story, whether grounded in concrete negotiations or spun from the fertile imagination of the rumour mill, has captured attention across both England and Scotland, pulling together strands of football's enduring fascination with youth, potential, and the allure of a wonderkid. Chelsea's role as a conveyor belt of young players makes the tale plausible, Rangers' hunger for new stars makes it appealing, and the backdrop of British football's intense scrutiny makes it irresistible for those who thrive on speculation. Journalists are already drafting hypothetical lineups, pundits are weighing the risks and rewards, and supporters are preparing themselves for either the joyous confirmation of a marquee youth signing or the deflating revelation that it was all smoke without fire. Yet even if the deal is never officially announced, the mere suggestion of Chelsea allowing a 17-year-old prodigy to leave for Ibrox underscores the shifting dynamics of talent distribution in modern football, where pathways are no longer linear and opportunities emerge in unexpected corners. For now, the whispers continue, carrying with them the intoxicating possibility that Rangers may soon unveil the latest English jewel, one whose name could echo from the streets of Glasgow to the training pitches of Cobham, and perhaps one day into the wider world of European football. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.